You are bleeding, and you don't even know it. Every day, you hand your peace to people who never deserved it. You give them your silence, your trust, your loyalty, and they crush it without a second thought. And you sit there asking why it hurts. It hurts because you are weak, not in body, in architecture. Your foundation is made of other people's opinions, and that is why you crack every time someone raises their voice. Machiavelli understood this 5 centuries ago. He watched men destroy themselves, not through war, but through reaction. The knife that kills you is never in your enemy's hand. It is in yours. It is your anger, your need to be understood, your desperate, pathetic hope that people will treat you the way you treat them. They won't, they never will. And tonight, that fantasy dies. I'm going to strip every lie from your mind and replace it with stone, with cold, unbreakable stone. But first, if you are ready to stop being everyone's open wound, type in the comments right now, "I am the fortress." Now listen closely. This is where your old self ends. Number 1, the death of reaction. The weak man reacts. That is his entire identity. Someone insults him, he fires back. Someone ignores him, he chases. Someone leaves, he begs. His entire existence is a response to other people's actions. He is not a man. He is an echo. The strong man is different. The strong man hears the insult and says nothing. Not because he is afraid, not because he has no words, but because he understands something the weak man will never grasp. Silence is the highest form of dominance. Machiavelli wrote that men judge you by what they see, not by what you are. So when you react, you reveal. You show them your wounds, you show them your triggers. You hand them a map to your destruction and wonder why they use it. Every reaction you give is a confession. It tells your enemy where you are soft. It tells the manipulator where to press. It tells the world that you are still controlled by external forces. And a man controlled by external forces is not a man at all. He is a puppet. Think about the last time someone hurt you. Now think about what you did. Did you argue? Did you explain yourself? Did you raise your voice trying to prove your worth to someone who already decided you were worthless? That is not strength. That is slavery. The coldest man in the room is never the loudest. He is the one watching. He is the one calculating. While others burn their energy on emotions, he conserves his like a general conserving ammunition. He knows that every word spent in anger is a bullet wasted. You must understand this with your entire being. Reaction is debt. Every time you react emotionally, you owe. You owe energy. You owe focus. You owe time. And you pay that debt with pieces of yourself that you will never get back. The strong man refuses to borrow. From tonight, you train yourself to become unreadable. No one sees your pain. No one hears your frustration. You become stone, cold, ancient, immovable stone. Not because you feel nothing, but because you choose to show nothing. That is the difference between weakness and power. The weak man shows everything. The strong man shows only what serves him. Remember that. Burn it into your skull. It will save your life. Number 2, the weapon of silence. They taught you that silence is weakness. They told you that a real man speaks up, fights back, defends himself with words. That is the greatest lie ever sold to you. Silence is not weakness. Silence is a loaded weapon pointed at everyone who underestimates you. When you go silent, people panic. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know what you're planning. They start filling the void with their own fear, their own guilt, their own assumptions. You didn't say a single word, and yet you already control the room. Machiavelli understood this better than any man who ever lived. He watched kings fall not because they lacked armies, but because they lacked restraint. They spoke when they should have waited. They revealed when they should have concealed. Their tongues were sharper than their enemies' swords, and twice as deadly to themselves. The weak man speaks to be heard. He craves validation like oxygen. He argues to prove he matters. He explains himself to people who have already made up their minds. Every word he speaks is a surrender disguised as defense. He talks himself into chains and calls it communication. The strong man speaks only when his silence is no longer profitable. He measures every word against its cost. He asks himself, does this serve me or expose me? If it exposes him, he swallows it like poison and lets it dissolve inside him. He never lets it reach his lips. You want to know what terrifies a manipulator more than anything? A man who says nothing, a man who watches with dead, calm eyes while the world screams around him. That man cannot be baited. That man cannot be read. That man is dangerous beyond comprehension. Start practicing tonight. When someone provokes you, say nothing. When someone disrespects you, let the silence stretch until it suffocates them. Watch how they stumble. Watch how they fill the air with nervous justifications. You did nothing, and yet you won everything. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of answers you are too disciplined to give away. It is the shadow where your power lives. It is the darkness that makes weak men uncomfortable and strong men untouchable. Guard your silence the way a king guards his throne. No one conquers the man who refuses to speak. Number 3, the graveyard of trust. Trust is a grave you dig with your own hands. Every time you trust blindly, you carve the dirt deeper. Every time you believe without evidence, you step closer to the edge. And when they betray you, and they will, you fall into the hole you built yourself. Machiavelli warned us centuries ago. He said men are ungrateful, fickle, and deceitful. He did not say this from bitterness. He said it from observation. He watched the most loyal soldiers abandon their generals. He watched brothers betray brothers over gold. He saw the truth you refuse to accept. The weak man trusts with his heart. He gives people the benefit of the doubt because it feels noble. It feels righteous. But nobility without strategy is suicide. He opens his doors to anyone who smiles and then weeps when they rob him blind in the middle of the night. The strong man trusts with his eyes. He watches patterns, not promises. He studies behavior, not words. When someone tells him they are loyal, he does not feel relief. He feels suspicion, because the man who announces his loyalty loudest is usually the first to drive the knife into your spine. You have been betrayed before. I know you have. Someone you loved turned their back. Someone you fed bit your hand, and it shattered you. Not because they were cruel, but because you made them your foundation. You built your house on a person, and people collapse. Stop building on people. Build on yourself. Build on discipline. Build on cold, calculated observation. Trust no one completely. Not your friend, not your partner, not even your own reflection when emotions are high. Trust only the patterns. Trust only what has been proven under fire and pressure repeatedly. This is not paranoia. This is architecture. A fortress does not have open doors. It has watchtowers, thick walls, and narrow gates. You must become that fortress. Let people earn every inch of entry. Let them prove themselves not once, not twice, but endlessly before you give them anything real. The graveyard of broken men is filled with those who trusted too quickly. Their headstones all read the same words. I believe them. Do not become another headstone. Do not become another fool buried beneath someone else's lie. Guard your trust like it is your last breath, because it is. Number 4, the isolation protocol. They told you that being alone is a punishment. They made you fear solitude like it was a disease. They conditioned you to believe that a man without a crowd is a man without value. That is the lie that keeps weak men chained to people who drain them dry. Isolation is not loneliness. Loneliness is the cry of a man who does not know himself. Isolation is the weapon of a man who knows himself too well. The weak man surrounds himself with noise because silence forces him to face what he truly is. Nothing without others. Machiavelli spent years in exile. They stripped him of his title, his power, his influence. Lesser men would have crumbled, but Machiavelli used that darkness. He sat alone in cold rooms and wrote the most dangerous book in human history. Isolation did not destroy him, it made him immortal. The weak man fills every moment with distraction. He texts people who do not care. He attends gatherings where he is tolerated, not valued. He keeps toxic friends because the alternative terrifies him. He would rather drown in bad company than sit alone with his own unbuilt mind. The strong man removes himself deliberately. He cuts the dead weight without guilt. He deletes the numbers that bring nothing but chaos. He sits in empty rooms and sharpens his mind like a blade against cold stone. He does not fear the silence. He weaponizes it completely. You need to understand something brutal tonight. Most people in your life are not there for you. They are there for what you provide: attention, validation, comfort, entertainment. Remove those things and watch how fast they vanish. Watch how quickly your phone goes silent when you stop performing. That silence is not a tragedy. That silence is a revelation. It shows you who was real and who was a parasite feeding on your energy. Let them leave. Let them all leave. What remains after the exodus is your true foundation, yourself, stripped bare and ready to be rebuilt from the ground up. Start isolating with purpose. Spend time alone, not scrolling, not distracting, but thinking, studying, planning, building the version of yourself that does not need applause to function. The man who masters solitude masters everything, because the man who is comfortable alone can never be controlled through the fear of abandonment. Become that man tonight. Number 5, the mask you must wear. Every man you admire wears a mask. Every leader, every conqueror, every king who ever held power understood one unforgiving truth. The real you is a vulnerability. The world does not reward authenticity. The world rewards strategy. And strategy demands that you never show your true face. The weak man believes in being real. He pours his heart out to strangers. He shares his fears at dinner tables. He confesses his insecurities to people who store them like ammunition. Then he wonders why they use his own words to destroy him when the season changes. Machiavelli wrote that everyone sees what you appear to be, but few experience what you truly are. This was not advice. This was a commandment. He was telling you that perception is the battlefield, and the man who controls perception controls the outcome before the war even begins. You do not owe anyone your truth. You do not owe anyone your pain. You do not owe anyone the raw, unfiltered version of yourself that bleeds and doubts and fears. That version is sacred. That version is yours alone. Anyone who demands it from you is not seeking connection. They are seeking control. The strong man builds his mask with precision. He chooses what to reveal the way a general chooses which hill to defend. He shows strength when surrounded by enemies. He shows warmth when it serves his agenda. He shows nothing when nothing is the most powerful move on the board. This is not deception. This is survival. The jungle does not reward the animal that shows its belly. It devours it. The world is no different. Every room you walk into is a jungle. Every conversation is a negotiation. Every smile pointed at you is either genuine or a trap. You must learn to navigate both without exposing your throat. Start tonight. Stop telling people how you feel. Stop announcing your plans. Stop revealing your wounds to those who have not bled beside you. Let them see only the version of you that is polished, composed, and dangerously unreadable. Let them guess. Let them wonder. Let them lose sleep trying to figure you out. The man behind the mask holds all the power. The man without a mask holds nothing but regret and exposure. Choose your face carefully. Wear it like armor, and never, never let anyone see you without it until they have earned that privilege with blood. Number 6, the economy of emotion. Your emotions are currency. Every tear you shed is a coin spent. Every outburst of anger is a transaction. Every moment of jealousy, every flash of frustration, every desperate plea for someone to understand you, all of it costs you, and you are spending yourself into bankruptcy. The weak man is emotionally reckless. He throws his feelings at every situation like a gambler throwing chips on a losing table. He loves too fast. He hates too loud. He forgives too easily. He is an open vault with no lock, and the world walks in and takes whatever it wants. Machiavelli observed that men who govern their passions govern their enemies. He did not say, eliminate your emotions. He said, govern them. Rule them the way a tyrant rules a conquered land, with absolute, merciless authority. Your emotions exist to serve you, not to command you into ruin. The strong man treats every emotion like an investment. Before he feels, he calculates. Before he reacts, he measures the return. Will this anger bring me closer to my goal or further from it? Will this sadness build my character or dissolve my discipline? If it costs more than it returns, he kills it instantly. You have wasted years being emotionally generous with people who deserved nothing. You gave love to those who collected it like trophies. You gave rage to those who fed on your chaos like vultures circling a dying animal. You made yourself poor, trying to make empty people feel rich. That ends tonight. From this moment, you become emotionally ruthless. Not heartless, ruthless. There is a difference. The heartless man feels nothing. The ruthless man feels everything but spends nothing unless the return is guaranteed. He is the banker of his own soul, and every withdrawal requires justification. Stop giving your joy to people who mock it. Stop giving your sadness to people who enjoy watching you crumble. Stop giving your energy to situations that return nothing but exhaustion and regret. Hoard your emotions like a miser hoards gold. Spend only on what builds your empire. Now I need you to do something. If you are still here, if these words are cutting through the fog in your mind, type in the comments right now. I spend nothing on those who deserve nothing. Claim that. Own it. Let it become your law from tonight forward. Number 7. The art of cold patience. Patience is not waiting. Patience is not sitting quietly while life happens to you. That is not patience. That is surrender. Real patience is the cold, calculated decision to delay your strike until the moment is so perfect that victory is inevitable before you even move. The weak man confuses patience with passivity. He waits because he is afraid. He hesitates because he lacks conviction. He calls his cowardice patience and wears it like a badge of honor. But deep inside, he knows the truth. He is not patient. He is paralyzed by his own indecision. Machiavelli watched patient men conquer empires while impulsive men lost kingdoms overnight. He understood that time is not your enemy. Time is your most lethal weapon. The man who masters time masters the battlefield. The man who rushes becomes a casualty of his own desperation and blind ambition. The strong man waits like a predator in tall grass. His eyes are open. His breathing is controlled. His muscles are coiled with restrained violence. He does not move when the prey appears. He moves when the prey is vulnerable. That fraction of difference separates the hunter from the fool who starves. Think about every mistake you have made, every failed relationship, every ruined opportunity, every moment you wish you could take back. Now trace it to its origin. You will find one common thread. You moved too soon. You spoke too fast. You acted from emotion instead of calculation. Impatience is the assassin of great men. It whispers in your ear that you must act now, respond now, decide now. It creates false urgency. It convinces you that hesitation is weakness. But the opposite is true. The man who can sit in discomfort without flinching holds a power that impulsive men will never understand. Train yourself to delay gratification in everything. When someone provokes you, wait 3 days before you respond. When an opportunity appears, study it for weeks before you commit. When your emotions scream at you to move, plant your feet like they are buried in concrete and refuse. The coldest victories in history were won by men who waited while everyone else panicked. They watched armies crumble under their own impatience. They watched enemies make fatal errors born from haste. And when the dust settled, they stepped forward into a battlefield already won by their stillness alone. Be that man. Wait, strike, conquer. Number 8. The funeral of your old self. The man you were yesterday must die. Not tomorrow, not gradually. Tonight. You must kill him with your own hands. Bury him in the coldest, darkest corner of your mind and never visit that grave again. He has cost you everything. He deserves no mourning. Your old self was a beggar. He begged for love from people who had none to give. He begged for respect from people who respected nothing. He begged for validation from a world that only validates those who never ask for it. He lived on his knees and called it humility. Machiavelli wrote that the man who tries to be good in all things will be ruined among so many who are not good. Your old self tried to be good. He smiled at people who cursed him behind closed doors. He forgave without repentance. He gave without receiving, and it destroyed him completely. The weak man clings to his old self like a child clings to a rotting blanket. He knows it is diseased. He knows it brings him pain, but it is familiar, and familiarity is the drug that keeps broken men from ever changing. They choose comfortable suffering over uncomfortable transformation every single time. The strong man performs the execution without hesitation. He looks at who he was, the desperate, approval-seeking, emotionally bleeding version, and he puts a bullet through its skull. No ceremony, no farewell speech, no sentimental reflection on the good times, just a cold, clean, necessary death. You must burn the bridges to your old identity tonight. The friends who knew the weak version of you, let them mourn him. The habits that kept you soft, starve them until they collapse. The memories that make you nostalgic for a time when you were pathetic, erase them like they never existed. Transformation is not gentle. It is violent. It is the sound of bones breaking and resetting into something stronger. It is the smell of burning wreckage as everything you once were turns to ash beneath your feet. You do not evolve by adding to yourself. You evolve by destroying what no longer serves your becoming. Tonight is the funeral. You are both the mourner and the executioner. Stand over the grave of your old self and feel nothing, because the man who rises from this moment will be forged from darker steel and colder fire than anything that came before him. He is already waiting. Number 9. The throne of indifference. Indifference is the throne that no one can overthrow. Not love, not hate, not betrayal, not loss. When you sit upon true indifference, you become untouchable in a way that terrifies every person who ever thought they had power over you. They lose their grip completely and permanently. The weak man cares about everything. He cares what strangers think. He cares what enemies whisper. He cares about opinions from people who contribute nothing to his existence. His mind is a courtroom where every worthless voice gets a seat, and he stands trial daily before judges who have no authority. Machiavelli knew that the man who cares least controls most. This is not theory. This is the coldest law of human nature. The person who needs nothing from you holds absolute dominion over you. The person who walks away without looking back holds the knife while you hold the wound. The strong man cultivates indifference like a farmer cultivates poison, slowly, deliberately, with full knowledge of its destructive capability. He does not become indifferent by accident. He trains himself to detach from outcomes, from opinions, from the desperate human need to be seen and acknowledged by the crowd. Think about the person who hurt you most. Now ask yourself, why did they have that power? The answer is sickening in its simplicity. They had power because you cared. You cared about their words. You cared about their presence. You cared about their approval. Your caring was the chain and they were the hand that pulled it. Now imagine a version of you that simply does not care, not pretending, not suppressing, genuinely, structurally, architecturally indifferent to their existence. Their words become wind. Their absence becomes silence. Their betrayal becomes irrelevant data filed away in a mind that has already moved 14 steps beyond their reach forever. That is the throne. That is where you must sit. Not in anger, because anger still means you care. Not in sadness, because sadness means they still occupy space in your chest. But in cold, absolute, bone-deep indifference, the kind that makes people feel invisible when they stand directly in front of you. The man on the throne of indifference does not fight. He does not argue. He does not explain. He simply exists on a plane that others cannot reach. And from that height, nothing below him can ever cause him damage or draw his blood again. Number 10. The final law. Become the darkness. You have listened long enough. You have absorbed every word like dry earth swallowing rain after a century of drought. But listening means nothing without execution. Knowledge without action is the most pathetic form of failure, a loaded weapon in the hands of a coward who refuses to pull the trigger. Tonight you learned that reaction is slavery, that silence is dominance, that trust is a graveyard, that isolation is power, that masks are armor, that emotions are currency, that patience is violence, that your old self must die, that indifference is the only throne worth occupying in this merciless world. But none of it matters if you wake up tomorrow and return to the man you were before you pressed play. None of it matters if you let comfort drag you back into the warm, rotting bed of mediocrity where weak men sleep peacefully while their lives disintegrate around them. Machiavelli did not write for the masses. He wrote for the one. The single man in 1,000 who reads his words and feels not inspiration but transformation. Not motivation, but mutation. The man who does not just understand power but becomes it, cold, silent, and absolute beyond anyone's ability to dismantle. The weak man will leave this video and change nothing. He will feel powerful for an hour, maybe 2. Then his phone will ring. Someone will disrespect him. Someone will test his boundaries, and he will crumble like wet sand because he treated these words as entertainment instead of architecture for his entire being. The strong man will leave this video and burn his former life to the ground without a single glance backward. He will cut the connections that weaken him. He will seal his mouth. He will empty his eyes of every emotion that does not serve his conquest. He will become the darkness that others fear to enter alone. Now type in the comments for the final time, I am the darkness. Claim it, seal it, become it. If this video rewired something inside you, strike the like button. Subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, and remember, the darkness does not wait, it arrives.